I'm Nathan Cones here with your midday news for this Monday, August 24th, 2026. Iowa cattlemen are bracing for what is expected to be a significant drop in the beef market after the Trump administration announced at the end of last week that it would temporarily suspend tariffs on beef imports. The Iowa Cattlemen's Association criticized President Donald Trump's plan to allow up to 300,000 metric tons of foreign beef imports over concerns it would create additional market volatility and could hurt Iowa producers already confronting fewer outlets for selling cattle. Trump announced on Friday that the imported ground beef is expected to be sold 25% below market value in an attempt to ease consumer prices, which have held above $6 per pound since June of 2025. Craig Moss, president of the ICA, says the drop in the markets will directly impact their profitability and bottom line, and in turn impacts decisions our producers are making about expanding their cattle herds. We believe the government should avoid intervention and let the market work. The U.S. cattle herd was at a 75-year low as of the beginning of this year, with 86.2 million head, and Moss suggests the move will discourage cattlemen from expanding their herds further. He says just a week ago, many cattle feeders in the state lost one of their marketing options with the closing of Tyson's Joslyn plant. Today, they're taking another hit with this announcement. What we know is that consumer demand for the high-quality beef raised by U.S. producers has remained strong. Consumers have been willing to pay for beef. Simply put, it is supply and demand economics. Iowa's cattle industry is uniquely positioned to play a significant role in expanding the nation's cattle herd. The association, which represents nearly 7,000 Iowa beef producer families and affiliated companies, says Iowa has pasture land, feed resources, and livestock infrastructure to help expand the nation's cattle herd and is well positioned to meet the needs of the nation if given adequate time to respond to the market. Carroll County Sheriff Ken Pingree submitted his formal letter of resignation effective August 31st to the Carroll County Board of Supervisors at their meeting this morning. Pingree, who has served in law enforcement for nearly 4 decades, 11 of which as the county sheriff, announced plans to retire earlier this year, but the supervisor's acceptance of his resignation makes it official. Pingree read his letter during the meeting, making note of the privilege it has been to serve Carroll County. Pingree also says law enforcement often gets to see people at their worst, but the quality of Carroll County's residents has been made apparent to him during his tenure as the good far, far outweighs the bad. Pingree does thank his staff for making a difficult job easy, his family for their support and understanding during his career, and previous and current officials and county employees for making Carroll County a tremendous place to live and work. Pingree is giving his full support to current Chief Deputy John Kretzinger to be his replacement, who he says is confident that he will step into the role seamlessly. With that, the board did accept Pingree's resignation letter this morning and considered a motion to authorize a public notice of the supervisor's intent to fill the pending vacancy by appointment. Public notice will go out yet this week, and to comply with state requirements on vacancy appointments, the supervisors will meet on Tuesday instead of Monday next week to finalize the appointment. Voters do have an option to force a special election, but that would require a petition to be signed within 14 days of the official notice. Support for Kretzinger as sheriff is likely quite high within the county. The local American Legion posts and their affiliated groups were pleased to present a nearly $12,000 check to the American Legion riders on Sunday as they passed through Carroll on the 2026 Legacy Run. The annual Veterans Ride is now in its 20th year. For its first 15 years, the ride raised money for scholarships for veterans' children, but organizers shifted the focus 5 years ago to the Veterans and Children Foundation after the Legacy Fund became self-sufficient. The foundation supports active duty soldiers, veterans, and their families in crisis, from utility bills to larger medical expenses. District 8 American Legion Commander Ruth Trecker, a U.S. Navy veteran out of the Coon Rapids post, says it was rewarding to see the hundreds of motorcyclists come through town so smoothly, considering how much work went into the preparations.
Because they have to arrange ahead of time for all the gas stops and food stops and make sure that the gas stations have enough of the right gas for 200 to 300 motorcycles, and they have to have overnight stops.
Trekker says they had initially hoped to present a healthy donation, and by the time the main body of the Legacy Run reached Carroll, their total had reached $11,753.63.
The goal for the area was 5,000, so we've more than doubled our goal, which is awesome. Iowa in general is a very generous state. Per capita, Iowa raises much more funds than the rest of the country does for the legacy run.
American Legion Riders National Chairman David Heredia Jr. accepted the check on behalf of his organization. He says he and his fellow riders were impressed with their reception from the community when they made their way through town, being escorted by the Iowa State Patrol, Carroll County Sheriff's Office, Carroll Fire Department, and Carroll Police Department.
The American Legion Riders is young. We've only been around as a national program for 33 years. And this is our 20th year doing the American Legion Legacy Run. So we're celebrating our 20th year. But what better way to do it as we've done this year? This is America's 250. We're celebrating America's 250th anniversary as a nation. I will tell you, coming into Carroll was an amazing reception.
The riders fueled at the Sparky's One Stop on the east side of Carroll and presented a certificate to the Tiefenthalers, the station's owners, for their support of the American Legion Riders. The rolling procession departed after about an hour and spent the night in Ames on Sunday. The 2026 Legacy Run began August 23rd in Lincoln, Nebraska, and travels through Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri before ending in Kentucky on August 27th for the American Legion National Convention. And we do need to step away for just a moment. Stick around. More news. It's right after this on KCIM.
It seems like the cost of everything is going up, so it's nice to save a little dough when you can, especially for something you love to eat every day. Before I go grocery shopping, I print out a coupon for $1 off any Country Hearth, Village Hearth, or Artisan Hearth bread product. My favorite is Dakota Style 12 grade. My wife's breakfast go-to is a toasted Village Hearth English muffin. We can save $1 on each. Go to countryhearthbreads.com/coupons and print 1 or 2 out before your next shopping trip. And don't forget, Country Hearth, Village Hearth, and Artisan Hearth bread products are baked locally and delivered fresh daily.
Are you looking to build your new dream home this year? Now's the time to contact me, Jordan Ellis with CK Homes, and now your local Heritage Homes builder. We offer turnkey, custom construction at an affordable price. With nearly 47 years of happy homeowners throughout the Midwest, we know you'll be one too. Contact us today to design your new Heritage home, or check us out on the web at heritagehomesofne.com, or call today at 1-800-759-2782. Again, that number is 1-800-759-2782.
Welcome back to KCIM's Midday News. I'm Nathan Cones reporting. The Carroll Community School District Board of Education is set to meet tomorrow for a special board meeting. The board is convening at 11:30 a.m. to acknowledge receipt of a bond petition and will be considering a resolution that would authorize a special election regarding its long-discussed district facility plan. This election will ask voters if the district can take on debt by issuing general obligation bonds. The resolution is requesting authorization for a bond amount not to exceed $51 million, the funds of which would be designated to build, furnish, and equip additions to the high school. The money would also be used to remodel, repair, improve, furnish, and equip both the high school and the middle school, including various site improvements. The ultimate objective behind these facility upgrades is the closure of Adams Elementary. They have a petition signed by eligible voters numbering at least 25% of those who voted in the last school election. The special election would be scheduled for Tuesday, November 3rd of this year. Carroll Broadcast will bring you more updates in future newscasts. But again, the Carroll Community School District Board of Education is going to be moving forward, most likely, with that bond resolution, a referendum coming up in November. Elsewhere, Republican gubernatorial nominee Zach Lane's campaign is bringing him to the listening area tomorrow afternoon for a meet and greet style event. Following a similar event in Shelby County, Lane will then head to Audubon County for a public forum. Lane will be at the Audubon Rec Center, that's 703 Southside Avenue, on Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Lane faces Democratic gubernatorial nominee Rob Sand, who was in Audubon last Thursday for a similar event. Sand drew a pretty impressive crowd last Thursday for an event in Carroll County, about 230 people in attendance at that one. So just a sign of how tight this governor's race is likely to be heading into Election Day. Carroll Broadcast will bring you more details from Lane's event. Once, of course, it's been held, we'll bring you some updates afterward. The Iowa State Fair's 11-day run ended on Sunday, and through the first 10 days, over 1.1 million people entered the fairgrounds. That tally was within 68,000 of the attendance record set during the 2024 Iowa State Fair, and it's likely Sunday's attendance easily topped that number. Rainy conditions did dampen attendance on the first couple of days of this year's fair, but once the skies cleared, single-day attendance records were set on Sunday as well as last Monday, then again on Friday and on Saturday. Saturday's head count of nearly 131,000 is the all-time single-day attendance record for the state fair. A planetary geologist from the University of Iowa is part of a team using one of NASA's rovers on Mars that's found the makings for precious gems like rubies and sapphires in the Martian soil. Valerie Pyre is a professor at the University of Iowa's School of Earth, Environment, and Sustainability. She says they've identified the mineral known as corundum on Mars, which is a first. Researchers report the rover Perseverance located the mineral in Jezero Crater, which scientists believe is an ancient lake once fed by rivers. Pyre is co-investigator on the NASA-funded SuperCam instrument team that made that discovery. She's hoping to continue remotely exploring Mars for as long as the six-wheeled rover survives the harsh climate and windstorms found on the red planet. The Ames-based Iowa Monarch Conservation Consortium is asking Iowans to be on the lookout for groups of monarch butterflies that might be congregating in Iowa trees and yards as they begin to make the long journey south to Mexico for the winter. Consortium program specialist Michaela Hageman says now is the time when you'll start to see monarch roosts, and it would be helpful if Iowans document them. Hageman says if you see a group of 10 or potentially hundreds of monarchs, snap a photo along with details on when and where it was taken. You can just simply email that to monarchs@iastate.edu. And that is going to be wrapping up your look at the KCIM Midday News for this Monday, August 24th, 2026. I'm Nathan Cohns reporting.